Emperor Vaxtol stood on the bridge of his personal flagship, the Imperial Glory. Around him, 5,000 of the Empire's best warships flew in perfect formation. This was the largest fleet the Empire had ever assembled. The Emperor was confident. No species had ever defeated the Empire's core fleet. The humans might have one big ship, but numbers always won in the end. 5,000 ships against one was impossible odds. "Your Majesty," Admiral Yexmore reported, "we will reach the human solar system in 1 hour." "Good," the Emperor said. "Send a message to the humans. Tell them to surrender now, and we will. Only destroy their military. If they fight, we will destroy everything." On Earth, President Karen Thompson received the Empire's message. She read it once, then deleted it. There would be no surrender. Humanity would fight for its freedom. "Send word to all ships," Karen ordered. "Begin Operation Solar Storm." Throughout the solar system, Earth's hidden defenses came to life. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter suddenly filled with weapon platforms. What had looked like ordinary rocks were actually missile launchers and energy cannons. The moons around the outer planets dropped their fake surfaces. Underneath were massive orbital guns that could shoot across the entire solar system. Defense. Satellites that had pretended to be space junk activated their engines and weapons. Captain Ryan Foster commanded the Stealth Destroyer Squadron. His 12 ships were invisible to Empire sensors. They moved into position behind the enemy fleet, ready to strike without warning. "All stealth ships in position," Ryan reported. "We can hit their command ships first." On the Titan, Commander Lisa Hayes watched the tactical display. The Empire fleet was huge, but they were flying straight into Earth's trap. They still thought they were fighting a primitive species. "All ships report ready," Communications Officer Steve Martinez announced. 13 supercarriers, 50 cruisers, 200 destroyers, and 1,000 fighters. "Begin the battle," Lisa ordered. "Show them what humanity can do." The battle began when Chief Gunner Pete Harrison fired the Titan's quantum cannon. The massive weapon sent a beam of pure energy across space. Where the beam hit the Empire fleet, ships simply vanished. Not destroyed, not exploded. They just stopped existing. 100 Empire ships were erased in an instant. Emperor Vaxtool stared at his tactical display in shock. 100 of his ships had disappeared. His sensors couldn't even find wreckage. "What kind of weapon was that?" he demanded. "Unknown, Your Majesty," Admiral Yexmore replied. "Our science teams have never seen anything like it." The Emperor's shock turned to rage. "All ships attack, destroy everything human." The Empire fleet charged forward, but Earth's defense platforms opened fire first. Thousands of missiles launched from hidden positions. Energy beams reached across space to slice Empire ships in half. Squadron leader Beth Adams led her fighter pilots into battle. Her ships were small but incredibly fast. They darted between the huge Empire ships like angry hornets. "Target their engines," Beth ordered her pilots. "If they can't move, they can't fight." The human fighters used hit-and-run tactics. They would appear suddenly, destroy an Empire ship's engines, then vanish before the enemy could respond. Soon, dozens of Empire ships were drifting helplessly in space. Navigator Paul Johnson coordinated the battle from the Titan's command center. Earth ships used the solar system itself as a weapon. They hid behind planets and moons, used gravity to slingshot around obstacles, and turned asteroids into missiles. "Empire fleet trying to regroup near Mars," Paul reported. "They're moving into our second trap." As the Empire ships approached Mars, the planet's 2 moons suddenly opened fire. What the Empire thought were ordinary moons were actually giant weapon platforms. Energy beams as wide as city blocks reached out to destroy Empire ships. Dr. Helen Carter's research proved valuable in the battle. Human weapons were designed to exploit the weaknesses she had discovered in Empire technology. Plasma cannons melted through Empire armor like it was paper. "Their shields can't stop our new weapons," Helen reported excitedly. "We're cutting through their defenses like they're not even there." Engineer Maria Santos kept the Titan's weapons running at full power. The massive ship was like a floating weapons factory, sending out streams of destruction that tore apart everything in their path. "All weapon systems operating at maximum efficiency," Maria reported. "We can keep this up for hours." Captain Danny Williams coordinated attacks from the Titan's secondary weapons. Even the ship's smaller guns were more powerful than the main weapons on most Empire ships. Direct hit on their flagship, Danny announced. The Imperial Glory is taking heavy damage. On the Imperial Glory, Emperor Vaxtel realized he was losing the battle. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. The humans were fighting with weapons and tactics he had never seen before. Your Majesty, Admiral Yexmore said urgently, we need to retreat. We're losing too many ships. Never, the Emperor shouted. The Empire does not retreat. But even as he spoke, more of his ships were dying. The human defense platforms kept firing from hidden positions. The stealth destroyers appeared without warning to destroy command ships. The massive supercarriers moved through his fleet like death itself. Captain Ryan Foster's stealth ship struck at the heart of the Empire formation. They appeared suddenly behind the Imperial Glory and opened fire with everything they had. The Yao, Emperor's flagship, shook under the attack. Systems failed throughout the ship. The bridge filled with smoke and sparks. Damage report, the Emperor demanded. Engines at 50%, his chief engineer reported. Weapons down to 30%. Life support failing on 12 decks. For the first time in 300 years of rule, Emperor Vaxtel felt truly afraid. The battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, less than 1,000 Empire ships remained out of the original 5,000. Most of those were damaged and barely able to fly. Emperor Vaxtel sat in his damaged command chair, staring at the tactical display. His mighty core fleet was destroyed. The humans had weapons beyond his understanding, ships that could appear and disappear, weapons that erased matter from existence, defenses hidden throughout their entire solar system. Your Majesty, Admiral Yexmore said quietly, we have to surrender. The Emperor closed his eyes. The Empire had never surrendered to anyone, but the Empire had never faced an enemy like this. Open a channel to the human commander, he said finally. Commander Lisa Hayes appeared on the screen. She looked calm and professional, not like someone who had just won the greatest battle in galactic history. Emperor Vaxtel, Lisa said, you have lost. Your fleet is destroyed. Your ships are fleeing. Do you wish to continue fighting, or will you listen to reason? The Emperor looked at her for a long moment. What are your terms? Simple, Lisa replied. The Empire will recognize Earth as an independent world. You will not interfere with human expansion into space, and you will respect our right to defend ourselves. And if I refuse? Lisa's expression didn't change. Then we will destroy every Empire ship in this system. Then we will take our fleet to your capital and destroy your empire. The Emperor knew she could do it. The human weapons were beyond anything he had imagined. Their ships could travel faster than his best scouts. Their defenses could hide an entire fleet. I accept your terms, he said finally. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. The Empire, which had ruled for 2,000 years, had been defeated by a species that had only been in space for decades. Other alien species began to ask questions. If the humans could defeat the Empire, what else was possible? Some species started to rebel against Empire rule. Others asked for human help in their own fights for freedom. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. Their planet was free. Their secret weapons had worked. Their brave soldiers had won an impossible victory. President Karen Thompson addressed the planet on television. Today, humanity has proven that we will not bow to anyone. We are not a weak species. We are not primitives. We are humans, and we are free. In space, the 13 supercarriers and their escort fleets patrolled the solar system. They were no longer hidden. The galaxy now knew what Earth could do. Commander Lisa Hayes stood on the Titan's bridge, looking out at the stars. 50 years of preparation had led to this moment. Humanity was no longer alone and afraid in a hostile galaxy. Commander, Communications Officer Steve Martinez reported, we're receiving messages from 17 different species. They want to meet with us. They want to form an alliance against the Empire. Lisa smiled. The galaxy is about to change. The Empire's time is ending. It's time for something new. Engineer Tony Valdez, who had started this whole adventure by discovering the Titan, now served as the ship's chief engineer. He looked at the advanced technology around him and marveled at what humanity had accomplished. "We did it," he said to himself. "We actually did it. The Galactic Empire would never be the same." They had learned that humans were not weak. They had learned that Earth was not defenseless. Most importantly, they had learned that their 2,000-year reign over the galaxy was coming to an end. Other species across the galaxy looked to Earth with new hope. If humans could stand up to the Empire and win, maybe they could too. The age of Empire dominance was over. The age of freedom was just beginning. General Yexmore could not believe the report on his desk. The Zenthari military leader had fought in 100 battles across the galaxy. He had never seen a defeat like this one. Half the 47th Fleet destroyed, Yexmore read aloud, by a single human ship. His aide, Commander Texval, stood nervously nearby. "Sir, Admiral Creston's report says the human ship was 20 miles long. Our largest ships are only 5 miles long." Yexmore threw the report down on his desk. "This is impossible. We have watched the humans for years. They have weak ships and simple weapons. How could they build something like this without us knowing?" The general walked to his window and looked out at the imperial capital. Thousands of buildings reached toward the sky. Millions of aliens lived and worked here, all serving the Empire. For 2,000 years, the Empire had been the strongest power in the galaxy. "Get me a meeting with the Emperor," Yexmore ordered. "Right now." Emperor Vaxtul sat on his golden throne in the Great Hall. The old ruler was angry. His most experienced admiral had been defeated by humans. Humans, the weakest species in the galaxy, had embarrassed the mighty Empire. "General Yexmore," the Emperor said, "explain to me how this happened." Yexmore bowed low. "Your Majesty, the humans have been hiding their true strength. They built weapons and ships in secret while we thought they were weak. Then we will show them what real strength looks like," the Emperor growled. "Prepare the core fleet, 5,000 ships. I will lead them myself to destroy these humans once and for all." On Earth, President Karen Thompson sat in an emergency meeting with her top advisors. The secret was out now. The whole galaxy would know that Earth had powerful weapons. "What happens now?" asked Secretary of Defense Robert Clark. "Admiral Richard," Stone answered him. "Now we prepare for war. The Empire won't accept what happened to their fleet. They'll send everything they have to destroy us." "How long do we have?" the President asked. "Intelligence says the Empire is gathering their core fleet," Richard replied. 5,000 ships, maybe more. They'll be here in 2 weeks. Dr. Susan Blake spoke up from her seat at the table. "Mr. President, there's something you need to know. The Titan isn't our only secret." Everyone turned to look at her. "What do you mean?" Karen asked. "There are 12 more ships like the Titan hidden around the solar system. And there are defense platforms, automated fighters, and weapon systems we built over the past 50 years. The President was quiet for a long moment. "How many people knew about this?" "Very few," Susan said. "The project was so secret that most of the builders didn't know what they were making. We used automated factories in space to build most of it." On the Titan, Commander Lisa Hayes met with her senior staff. They had won the first battle, but the real war was just beginning. "Intelligence reports say the Empire is mobilizing everything," Lisa said. 5,000 ships or more. The Emperor himself will lead them. Captain Danny Williams studied the tactical reports. "Can we win against those numbers?" "We'll find out," Lisa said. "But we won't be fighting alone. It's time to wake up the rest of the fleet." Communications Officer Steve Martinez sent coded signals throughout the solar system. One by one, hidden ships began to respond. Near Mars, a ship emerged from an asteroid. Near Saturn, another ship uncloaked. In the Kuiper Belt, 3 more ships activated their engines. "How many ships do we have total?" asked Colonel Kevin Murphy. 13 supercarriers like the Titan," Lisa said. 50 heavy cruisers, 200 destroyers, and about 1,000 smaller ships. Engineer Maria Santos was working on the Titan's most secret weapon. Deep in the ship's core, she made final adjustments to a device that could change the outcome of any battle. The quantum cannon is almost ready, Maria reported. But it can only fire once. After that, the ship's main reactor will need time to recharge. What can it destroy? Lisa asked. Anything within 1,000 miles. Ships, planets, space stations. Everything in that area will simply stop existing. Dr. Helen Carter worked in her laboratory, studying pieces of Empire ships from the first battle. She had discovered something important about Empire technology. Their shields work differently than ours, Helen explained to the command staff. They stop energy weapons, but they're weak against physical projectiles. And their armor is strong against lasers, but weak against plasma. This information would help Earth's ships fight more effectively. The Empire's advantages weren't as big as they seemed. Navigator Paul Johnson was planning the defense of the solar system. With 13 supercarriers and hundreds of smaller ships, he could position forces throughout the system. We'll make them fight for every planet, Paul said. Force them to split their fleet. Pick them off piece by piece. On the imperial capital, Ambassador Zethkar was in disgrace. He had told the Emperor that humans were weak. Now the Empire was preparing for the largest military operation in its history. You failed me, Emperor Vaxtool said coldly. You told me the humans were no threat. Your Majesty, Zethkar protested. They hid their strength perfectly. No one could have known. Someone should have known. Someone should have been watching more carefully. The Emperor turned away from the disgraced ambassador. General Yexmore, how soon can the core fleet be ready? 10 days, Your Majesty. We're bringing ships from across the Empire. When we're done, the human solar system will be nothing but dust. Back on Earth, ordinary people began to learn the truth about their planet's defenses. The government could no longer keep it secret. News reports talked about hidden fleets and secret weapons. Some people were afraid. Others were proud. All of them knew that their lives were about to change forever. In schools across Earth, children asked their teachers why their planet had been building secret weapons. Teachers tried to explain that sometimes peace required being ready for war. Will the aliens attack us? A young girl asked her teacher. Our brave soldiers will protect us, the teacher replied. But privately, she wondered if even Earth's secret weapons would be enough. On space stations around Earth's solar system, workers who had built mysterious parts for unknown projects finally learned what they had been making. Weapons, ships, defense systems, all designed to protect humanity from threats they didn't even know existed. Captain Ryan Foster commanded one of the new stealth destroyers. His ship was invisible to Empire sensors and could strike without warning. He had trained for this moment, his entire career. All stealth ships report ready, Ryan said over the communication system. We'll hit their flanks while the big ships keep them busy. Squadron leader Beth Adams prepared her fighter pilots for the coming battle. Each pilot had trained for years in secret. They knew their ships better than Empire pilots knew theirs. Remember, Beth told her pilots, we're faster and more maneuverable than anything they have. Use that advantage. Hit them and get away before they can hit back. As Earth's forces prepared for the coming battle, people across the planet looked up at the stars and wondered what would happen. Would their secret weapons be enough? Would their brave soldiers win? The answers would come soon. In 10 days, the Empire's core fleet would arrive, and the real war would begin. Chief Gunner Pete Harrison ran tests on the Titan's main weapon. The quantum cannon had never been fired at full power. No one knew exactly what would happen when it fired. The weapon is ready, Pete reported. But Commander, I have to warn you, when this fires, every ship in the Empire fleet will know exactly where we are. Lisa nodded. That's a risk we'll have to take. Sometimes you have to reveal your position to win the battle. The stage was set. Earth's hidden fleet against the Empire's core fleet. 13 human supercarriers against 5,000 alien warships. Technology against numbers. The future of humanity hung in the balance. Admiral Creston stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Dominion's Wrath. The ship was huge and dark, covered with weapons and armor. Around him, 200 Empire warships flew in perfect formation toward Earth. Creston was proud of his fleet. The 47th Fleet had never lost a battle. They had conquered 12 worlds and defeated 30 enemy fleets. The Empire's ships were powerful, and their crews were experienced warriors. "Admiral," his second officer reported, "we will reach the human solar system in 6 hours." "Good," Creston said. "Send a message to the human planet. Tell them we are coming to inspect their defenses. Tell them to prepare their fleet for review." The alien admiral smiled. This would be easy. The humans would line up their small ships and pretend to be strong. Then Creston would show them real power. The humans would remember their place in the galaxy. On Earth, Admiral Richard Stone received the Empire message. He read it twice, then called an emergency meeting. In 30 minutes, Earth's top military leaders gathered in the war room. "They want to inspect our defenses," Richard said. "They want us to show them our fleet." "How many ships are they sending?" asked General Lisa Parks. 200 warships, the largest Empire fleet that has ever come to Earth. The room was quiet. Everyone knew that Earth's official fleet had only 20 ships. Those ships were small and lightly armed. Against 200 Empire warships, they would not last 5 minutes. "Sir," Colonel Mark Davis said, "should we contact the Titan?" Richard nodded. "Send word to Commander Hayes. Tell her it's time." On the Titan, Commander Lisa Hayes received the message and smiled. She had been waiting 50 years for this moment. She called her senior officers to the bridge. "The Empire is coming with a full battle fleet," Lisa announced. "They want to show the humans who is boss. Instead, we're going to show them what humans can really do." Captain Danny Williams looked at the tactical displays. "Where should we meet them?" "Jupiter orbit," Lisa decided. "The gas giant will give us some cover, and there's less chance of damage to Earth if things go badly." Dr. Susan Blake checked the ship's systems one final time. Everything was working perfectly. The weapons were charged, the shields were ready, and the engines were running smoothly. "Lisa," Susan said, "the ship is ready for battle, but are you sure about this? Once we fight the Empire, there's no going back." Lisa nodded. "Earth can't pretend to be weak forever. Sooner or later, the Empire would have demanded more from us. Better to fight now, when we have the advantage of surprise." Engineer Maria Santos worked in the deep parts of the ship, bringing online weapons that had never been tested in real combat. The Titan's main cannon alone was bigger than most Empire ships. Its power source could light up a whole planet. "All weapon systems ready," Maria reported. "The main cannon will need 5 minutes to charge fully, but all other weapons are online now." Navigator Paul Johnson plotted their course to Jupiter. The Titan could reach the gas giant in 2 hours using its advanced engines. The Empire fleet would take 6 hours to reach Earth, so they would have time to prepare. "Course laid in," Paul reported. "We can be at Jupiter in 2 hours. Take us there," Lisa ordered. "And send word to the hidden defense platforms. Tell them to prepare for activation." As the Titan moved toward Jupiter, other things began to happen throughout the solar system. What looked like ordinary asteroids started to change. Fake rock shells fell away, revealing missile platforms and gun stations. Hidden factories opened their doors and released swarms of automated fighter ships. The Empire fleet continued toward Earth, unaware that they were flying into a trap. Admiral Creston was confident and relaxed. His ships were the best in the galaxy. His weapons were powerful. His crews were well trained. What could a bunch of primitive humans do against the might of the Empire? "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a message from the humans." "Put it on the main screen," Creston ordered. Commander Lisa Hayes appeared on the screen. She wore a crisp military uniform and looked calm and confident. "Admiral Creston," Lisa said, "I am Commander Lisa Hayes of the Earth Defense Force. You are entering our solar system with a hostile fleet. Turn around and leave, or we will defend ourselves." Creston laughed. "Commander Hayes, you have 20 small ships. I have 200 warships. You cannot threaten me." Lisa smiled. "Admiral, you have made a mistake. You think you know what Earth can do. You think we are weak. You are wrong." The screen went dark. Creston was angry now. How dare these humans threaten him? "All ships," Creston ordered, "prepare for battle. We will destroy their pathetic fleet and teach them proper respect. The Empire fleet moved faster toward Earth. They spread out into attack formation. Their weapons charged up and their shields activated. At Jupiter, the Titan waited. The massive ship hung in space near the gas giant, hidden by the planet's magnetic field. Smaller human ships joined them, but not the weak ships the Empire expected. These were new ships, fast and deadly, that had been built in secret. Empire fleet entering Jupiter space, reported Communications Officer Steve Martinez. They're coming straight for us. Perfect, Lisa said. Let them come close. I want them to see what they're facing before we destroy them. The Empire ships came around Jupiter and saw the human fleet waiting for them. Admiral Creston looked at his screens and frowned. The human ships looked different from what he expected. They were larger and more advanced. Then he saw the Titan, the massive supercarrier, hung in space like a metal moon. It was bigger than his flagship, bigger than any three of his ships put together. Weapons ports covered its hull like stars in the night sky. What is that? Creston whispered. Admiral, his tactical officer said, that ship is reading as 20 miles long and 10 miles wide. It has more weapons than our entire fleet. Creston felt afraid for the first time in his long military career. Open fire on the large ship. All ships, concentrate fire on the large ship. 200 Empire warships fired at the same time. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between the fleets. The attack was massive, enough to destroy a planet. The weapons hit the Titan's shields and vanished. The shields glowed briefly, then returned to normal. The massive ship had not even been scratched. Impossible, Creston breathed. On the Titan, Lisa Hayes calmly gave her orders. Return fire. All weapons fire at will. The Titan's weapons spoke for the first time in real combat. Thousands of energy beams lanced out from the supercarrier. Each beam was more powerful than the main gun of an Empire ship. 3 Empire cruisers exploded instantly. 2 more were cut in half. A destroyer simply vanished in a ball of fire. The battle lasted only 10 minutes. When it was over, half of Admiral Creston's fleet was destroyed or disabled. The other half was running away as fast as they could. Creston's own ship was damaged and barely running. He sent one last message to the Empire capital. The humans are not what we thought, he said. They have ships and weapons beyond our understanding. Send help. Send everything. Ambassador Zethkar looked down at the report on his desk. The Zenthari alien was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 arms. He had been watching Earth for 5 years now. His job was to make sure the humans did not cause trouble. The humans were a young species. They had only been flying in space for a short time. Their ships were small and slow. Their weapons were simple. Zethkar thought they were like children playing with toys. These humans are no threat, Zethkar said to his assistant. Their biggest ship has only 50 weapons. Our smallest warship has 500 weapons. His assistant, another Zenthari, named Vextal, nodded. Yes, sir. The humans seem to know their place. They stay near their home planet. They do not try to expand into Empire space. Zethkar was pleased. The Galactic Empire had ruled the galaxy for 2,000 years. They had defeated every species that tried to fight them. The humans were smart to accept Empire rule without fighting. On Earth, Admiral Richard Stone sat in his office reading a message that made his hands shake. The message was from Captain Jake Morrison. It told about finding the UES Titan hidden in the asteroid field. Richard had known about the Titan project, but he thought it was just a plan. He did not know the ship was real and finished. He did not know it was out there waiting. Get me a secure line to the president, Richard told his aide. Right now. 30 minutes later, Richard was talking to President Karen Thompson. She sat in the White House, looking tired. Running a planet was hard work, especially when that planet was being watched by a galactic empire. Mr. President, Richard said, we have a situation. A big situation. He told her about Jake's discovery. He told her about the Titan, the massive, hidden ship that was 20 miles long. He told her about Commander Lisa Hayes, who had been sleeping for 50 years. Karen listened without speaking. When Richard finished, she was quiet for a long time. Admiral, she finally said, How is this possible? How did we build something so big without anyone knowing? I don't know, ma'am, but I'm going out there to find out. On the Titan, Commander, Lisa Hayes walked through the ship's halls. She had been asleep for so long that everything felt strange. The ship was exactly as she remembered, but she felt like a stranger in her own home. Dr. Susan Blake met her in the main conference room. Susan was older now, with gray hair and lines on her face. She had been one of the scientists who designed the Titan. Lisa, Susan said, smiling, it's good to see you awake. Susan, I can't believe how long I was asleep. Tell me what's happened. Tell me about the Empire. Susan's smile faded. The Empire still thinks we're weak. They have an ambassador watching Earth. They believe our technology is far behind theirs. Good, Lisa said. That's what we wanted. Are the other ships ready? Other ships? Susan asked, confused. Lisa looked surprised. You mean they didn't tell you? The Titan isn't alone. There are 12 more ships like her hidden around the solar system. Susan's mouth fell open. 12 more? The Titan is just the first. While I was sleeping, automated factories have been building more ships. The plan was always to have a full battle fleet ready when the time came. Colonel Kevin Murphy joined them in the conference room. He was the leader of the Titan's fighter pilots. Kevin was young and eager, ready for action. Commander, Kevin said, my pilots have been in training simulations for months. They're ready to fly real missions. Lisa nodded. How many fighters do we have? 3,000 combat ships, each one faster and stronger than anything the Empire has seen. On the Imperial capital world, Emperor Vaxtul received a routine report from Ambassador Zethkar. The report said that humans were still peaceful and weak. Their ships were still small. Their technology was still simple. Emperor Vaxtul was pleased. The humans were behaving properly. They understood that the Empire was their master. The Emperor was old, even for his species. He had ruled for 300 years. In that time, he had conquered 50 worlds. He had defeated every enemy that challenged the Empire. He believed no species could threaten his power. Back on the Titan, engineer Tony Valdez walked through the ship's massive engine rooms. The engines were unlike anything he had ever seen. They used technology that was completely new to him. "Oh, do these work?" Tony asked Dr. Susan Blake. "They bend space," Susan explained. "Instead of pushing the ship forward, they pull space toward the ship. That's how we can move something so big so fast." Tony looked at the huge machines around him. These engines could move the ship faster than anything in the Empire fleet. "That's the idea," Susan said. "The Empire builds big, slow ships with lots of weapons. We built one very big, very fast ship with more weapons than their entire fleet." Captain Danny Williams, who had transferred from the USS Defiance to the Titan, stood in the weapons control room. The room was huge, with hundreds of control stations. Each station controlled different weapon systems. "How many weapons does this ship have?" Danny asked. Colonel Kevin answered him. "More than 10,000. Laser cannons, missile launchers, plasma guns, and some weapons that don't exist anywhere else in the galaxy." Danny whistled softly. "What's the biggest weapon?" "The main cannon," Kevin said, pointing to a massive control panel. "It takes power from the ship's main reactor. When it fires, it can destroy a planet." Navigator Paul Johnson was studying star charts in the navigation room. He was planning routes the Titan could take if they needed to move quickly. "The Empire doesn't know about our jump technology," Paul said to anyone who would listen. "They think we can only travel as fast as light. They don't know we can fold space and appear anywhere instantly." Communications Officer Steve Martinez monitored Empire radio signals. His job was to listen to what the Empire ships were saying to each other. "The Empire fleets are spread out across the galaxy," Steve reported. "They're not expecting any trouble. Most of their ships are far from Earth." Commander Lisa Hayes listened to all these reports. Her ship was ready. Her crew was ready. The question was, when would they need to fight? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. Ambassador Zethkar sent a message to the Imperial fleet. He wanted to show the humans that the Empire was still watching them. He asked for a small fleet to visit Earth and remind the humans of their place. Admiral Cresthon received the request and smiled. He commanded the 47th Fleet, 200 of the Empire's warships. A visit to Earth would be easy and fun for his crews. "Prepare the fleet," Admiral Creston ordered. "We're going to visit our human friends." Captain Jake Morrison looked out the window of his ship. Stars filled the dark space around them. His ship, the USS Defiance, had been flying for 3 months now. They were far from Earth, past all the planets people knew about. Jake and his crew were looking for rocks that might have valuable metals inside them. The ship was quiet. Most of the crew was doing their normal work. Jake liked these quiet times. Space was big and peaceful out here. No one bothered them. No alien ships came to ask questions or make trouble. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez sat at her control desk. She watched the computer screens that showed what was around their ship. Her job was to find interesting rocks floating in space. For weeks, she had seen nothing special. Just normal space rocks that were not worth much. "Captain," Amy called out. Her voice sounded excited. "I found something strange." Jake walked over to her desk. "What do you see?" Amy pointed at her screen. "This big rock here. The computer says it's made of iron and stone like other rocks. But look at this." She touched another button. New numbers appeared on the screen. "The inside is not solid. There are empty spaces in there, big empty spaces." Jake looked at the numbers. He had been flying in space for 15 years. He knew rocks. Rocks did not have big empty spaces inside them, not unless something made those spaces. "Tony," Jake called to his engineer. "Come look at this." Tony Valdez was the smartest person on the ship when it came to machines and computers. He could fix anything and understand how things worked. Tony came over and looked at Amy's screen. "This is very strange," Tony said. He took the controls and ran different tests. The computer sent invisible beams at the rock to see what was inside. "Captain, this rock is not a rock." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. Tony pointed at the screen. "Look here. The computer shows metal, halls inside. And here, this looks like rooms. Big rooms. And this part here, this looks like a power source. A very big power source." Jake felt his heart beat faster. "Are you saying someone built something inside that rock?" "Yes, sir. Someone made this. And it's huge. Much bigger than our ship." Amy checked her computers again. "The rock is 20 miles long and 10 miles wide. If there's something built inside it, that something is enormous." Jake thought about this. Who would build something so big and hide it inside a fake rock? And why would they put it so far from Earth where no one would find it? "Take us closer," Jake ordered. "But go slow. If someone is inside that thing, I want to see them before they see us." The USS Defiance moved toward the strange rock. As they got closer, Amy's computers showed more details. The thing inside the rock had many levels, like a huge building lying on its side. There were what looked like doors and windows. There were also things that might be weapons. "Captain," Tony said, his voice quiet. "The power source is starting to wake up." "What do you mean, wake up?" "It was sleeping, turned off, but now it's turning on. Something inside knows we are here." Jake felt worried. "Can we run if we need to?" "Yes, sir. We can jump away fast if there's trouble." Just then, lights began to turn on inside the fake rock. The light started small and then spread out like a wave. Soon the whole inside of the rock was glowing. "Sir," Amy said, "I'm getting a signal. Someone is trying to talk to us." "Put it on the speakers," Jake said. A woman's voice came through the ship's speakers. She sounded tired, like someone who just woke up. "Human ship USS Defiance. This is Commander Lisa Hayes of the UES Titan. Please identify yourself and state your mission." Jake was shocked. A human was inside that rock. "This is Captain Jake Morrison. We're on a survey mission looking for mineral deposits. Commander Hayes, what is the UES Titan?" There was a long pause. Then Lisa's voice came back, stronger now. "Captain Morrison, you have discovered humanity's most protected secret. The Titan is Earth's hidden defense ship. I have been sleeping for 50 years waiting for the right time to wake up." "Defense ship?" Jake asked. "Defense against what?" "Captain, how much do you know about the aliens who rule the galaxy?" Jake thought about this. Everyone on Earth knew about the Galactic Empire. They were powerful aliens who controlled most of the known galaxy. Earth was new to space travel, and the Empire treated humans like children who needed watching. The Empire thinks we are weak, Jake said. They think we can't build good ships or weapons. Lisa laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. That's what we wanted them to think. Captain, prepare to see something that will change everything you know about human space power. The fake rock began to crack and fall away. Big pieces floated off into space. What was underneath made Jake's mouth fall open. The UES Titan was the biggest ship Jake had ever seen. It was huge, like a flying city. The ship was dark gray with lights running along its sides. Jake could see weapon ports, landing bays for smaller ships, and sensor arrays bigger than his whole ship. Captain Morrison, Lisa's voice said, welcome to humanity's real space fleet. We've been preparing for war while the galaxy thought we were just learning to fly. Jake stared at the massive ship. His mind raced with questions. How long had this been here? How many people knew about it? Were there more ships like this hidden around Earth? Commander Hayes, Jake said slowly, I think we need to talk.